Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well, having a good time. It's got to the time of day now, we've got to listen to me say a few words, so do me a massive favour, top your glasses right up, make the whole thing easier for all of us, especially Mike. So before I get started, I'd just like to reiterate what's already been said. Thank everyone here for making today so special. You know, all the parents, all the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, all of you lot, and especially Mike and Kate. I'd also like to thank all the lads that came on the stag party to Amsterdam. It was a brilliant weekend. It was an absolute pleasure to see Mike get his bare backside whipped by someone other than Kate. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Jack. I've been best mates with Mike for about 11 years now. I'd just like to say what an absolute honour it is to be the one here singing his praises. Now, it's a bit of a strange concept for me, this, singing Mike's praises. Like most blokes that are mates, we pretty much spend all the time taking the mick out of each other, or stopping the other one doing something stupid, or the complete opposite. So, actually thinking of nice things to say has been a bit of a mission. Just to give you a bit of history, I met Mike when we moved to university halls in Leeds at the age of 18. The halls we moved into were some of the nicer ones Leeds had to offer, you know, where quite a lot of the posher kids went. Well, they were really quite pleasant, but it was plain to see, day one, that they'd already, looking at my new flatmates, that they'd already decided to separate the riff-raff from the rest and stick us all together. So naturally, Mike was in the room next to mine. Bottom block in this dodgy block, with bars across all the windows. It was the first day there, and it was the summer, and it was one of those miraculous days where it was actually hot and sunny, so perfect excuse for us to check out the nearest pub and bond over a beer. I remember the first thing he said that he needed to pop back to his room and shut the window. I reminded him that, yeah, bars across them, so pretty safe. But he was absolutely adamant that a thief with skinny arms had the opportunity to take the TV out of his room. And to this day, I still don't think he understands the logic of what he said. But it was at that point I realised I liked him straight away. Those of you that know Mike will know he's got a superb sense of humour, and he always seems to be laughing. And I remember one of the funniest things I remember him ever doing is, while we were at university, he wanted to play a prank on our friend George. This particular prank involved Mike secretly putting some nuclear hot chili powder into a pair of one of George's boxer shorts. It was an absolute lottery as to which day George would choose to wear this demonic pair. But I remember one day, after George had left uni, Mike came running down the stairs, utterly jubilant, after checking through George's wardrobe to find that he had him on that day. So when George eventually turned up back home, tears in his eyes, he'd only been to the doctor thinking he had an STD. As well as blaming his then girlfriend for said disease, before realising it was only the same powder he'd used the week before to make us all a chili con carne. Hats off, Mike.
Pretty fun. Thanks.
As you might be able to tell, we formed a massively tight group at university, and we're all still best mates today. Some new faces and some old. And after uni, we all moved into a house together in Leeds. I remember one particular day where Mike and Andy were putting up these posters in the front room, both using a 10-kilogram weight plate each as a hammer. So Mike was sat on the floor, Andy was stood on top of the sofa, both hammering these nails into the chipboard. Disaster written all over it. I knew it was only a matter of time before it went tits up. So I made myself comfortable, prepared for the moment. It happened. Andy dropped the weight plate right into the top of Mike's head. Up he got, running around the room like a lunatic, shouting louder than when Newcastle got knocked out of the FA Cup by Chelsea. As you can imagine, our sympathy was pretty minimal, and we found the whole thing quite hilarious. But after about 2 days of watching Mike walk around in circles, we decided to take him to the doctors. Diagnosed with severe concussion. Dent still in his head today. I think you'll all agree it explains a lot. My time in Leeds came to an end and I had to move to London for work. And it's quite hard at the time, leaving your mates behind again. But it wasn't long until I got a phone call from Mike saying he was moving to London as well for work, round the corner from where I lived, in fact. So I wasn't out of the woods yet. Happy days. About a few weeks after he moved down, I remember I saw him walking past the train station. I was driving in the car, so I gave him a beep to get his attention. He looked up with a look of pure bemusement on his face. And to this day, I don't know what he expected to see. So I revert back to the 10-kilogram weight plates at the end. And before I met Mike, I remember a time when we were in London that he was sort of on the hunt to meet girls. So he decided to go and get a fancy haircut and showcase it that weekend for a lads' night out. The hairdresser persuaded him to spend about 70 quid to get coloured highlights. She must have seen him coming a mile away. But when he got home, realised he looked like George Michael from He decided to go back, spend another 70 quid, and get it reversed. So about 3 hours later, he turned up to the pub, bright orange hair, 140 quid down. Safe to say the only thing he pulled that night was a hat over his head. About a year later is when I met Kate, and it just so happens that it's one of Mike's friends from home. And for anyone that knows Kate, you'll all have to agree, it takes less than a few seconds to know she's an absolute gem for all the right reasons, much like Mike. And when their friendship turned into a relationship, it was plain to see that they were perfect for each other, you know, more so than any other couple I've ever known. And I suddenly realised that there's someone else to look after Mike, and normally I might have been put off by this realisation, but in fact, I was chuffed to bits. But it wasn't long till I got woken up Saturday morning with a call from Mike with an emergency situation to sort out. It clearly distressed Mike had woke up and found a dead fox. And for someone petrified of dogs, he wasn't best pleased. And with a strict vegetarian Kate inside, I guess it was up to me to go and shift the poor sod. So I told him, cover it up, I'll be round in a minute, I'll shift it. So when I got round, I found he'd just laid a load of bin bags over the top of it and covered him with old VHS videotapes that he found knocking around the house, like things like Top Gun, You've Been Framed 1984. It was like some bizarre murder scene from a blockbuster video shop. People walking past wondering what the hell was going on. And I remember another time we'd been on a bit of a boozy night out, and we're all on the tube on the way back. Looking at Mike and Kate, it was clear to see that they really did love each other. Mike gently holding back Kate's hair. While she threw up into her handbag. True love indeed. It's then that I realised maybe I've got two people to look after. And although I've made out I've spent all these years looking after him, it's anyone that knows as well knows that it swings both ways, and he has been known to sort me out on the odd occasion. I think most notoriously when I almost got nicked for trying to nick a bulldozer. But save that one for later. And writing this speech, it's allowed me to reminisce about the countless stories we've accumulated over the last 11 years. And it's been a real pleasurable and laugh out loud experience, and I'd happily share more of these stories with anyone over a beer today. And as useless as I've made him out to be, I'm proud to see what a kind, caring and decent human Mike's turned out to be. You know, this can't only be seen in his attitude towards his friends and his family, but also the people he helps on a day-to-day basis at work. He's always laughing and he's always smiling. I think it's a true reflection on his attitude towards life. And when he told me he was going to propose to Kate, I couldn't have been more happier. A real perfect couple that you know will be together forever. And I came across an Oscar Wilde quote, which comes, it's marriage is the triumph of imagination over intelligence. How perfect. I couldn't have put it better myself. So I and everyone here would like to wish you both all the happiness in the world together, because you both truly deserve it. So ladies and gentlemen, to the bride and groom.
Well done. Well done.